Night fell over the docks as barrels of corpses were loaded onto a silent ship. Within the NIS briefing room, the target's file sat under a flickering fluorescent light. Kim Soo-yak warned his team that Anna Nanayama was more than just a drug supplier. They called her Snow White because of the pure cocaine she peddled across the border. The mission was clear: infiltration, assassination, and total erasure of the target. Soo-yak moved through the hotel corridors like a ghost in tactical gear. The first Yakuza guard fell before he could even draw a breath. Blood splattered against the gold-leafed walls as the team advanced. They burst into the main hall only to find a scene of absolute carnage. In the center of the room, Anna sat atop a throne of tangled limbs. Soo-yak's brother froze as Anna flicked a small object with impossible speed. A human tooth tore through the agent's forehead, killing him instantly. The second agent charged in a frenzy of grief and was silenced just as quickly. Soo-yak realized he was no longer fighting a human being. Anna lunged, pinning him to the floor with a strength that shattered bone. She drove his own silver knife through the palm of his hand. Soo-yak screamed as she twisted the blade, savoring his torment. In a final act of defiance, he bit into her pale neck with all his strength. He jammed a shard of broken glass into her wound, watching her collapse. She called him interesting before plunging him into a world of darkness. Soo-yak awoke inside a cramped chemical barrel, his skin burning with acidic waste. The morning sun beat down on his face, yet he felt no heat, only a strange power. He stepped out onto the deck, surrounded by the mangled remains of his captors. A black sedan waited at the pier, driven by men wearing gas masks. They claimed to be headquarters, but the toxic gas filling the car said otherwise. The NIS director laughed, planning to dissect the man he once called a hero. The car trunk exploded open as Soo-yak emerged, his eyes burning with unnatural light. He slaughtered the retrieval team with their own weapons in a blur of motion. He cornered the director, shooting him through both legs with cold precision. The dying man confessed they were hunting the technology behind Anna's immortality. Soo-yak realized his brothers were sacrificed for nothing more than corporate greed. A new presence appeared on the roof, silhouetted against the full moon. Squad leader Ayaka descended, her blades humming with murderous intent. She moved so fast she could cut the bullets out of the air. Soo-yak fought back, his body regenerating wounds as fast as she could inflict them. In a desperate exchange, he tore off her head while she severed his arm. The headless woman stood back up, reattaching her skull with a sickening crack. Soo-yak's body shifted, his muscles bulging until his tactical suit shredded away. He let out a lupine howl, his teeth lengthening into predatory fangs. A voice from the shadows called out to him, freezing his monstrous blood. Bishop Mirror stepped forward, declaring that the Daywalker had finally arrived. As the sun rose higher, Soo-yak realized he was the only monster who didn't burn. Mirror offered him a choice: die as a beast or hunt as her hound. Far away in Tokyo, Anna felt the shift in the wind and whispered his name. Following the chaotic ship incident, Kim Soo-yak finds himself bound in a secure Vatican facility beneath the city. A woman with sharp, piercing eyes named Bishop Mirror approaches him, her heels clicking rhythmically on the cold stone. She reveals that her Vatican squad has been hunting the Nanayama vampires for centuries and offers him a choice: death or servitude. To prove his thirst, she pricks her finger, allowing a single drop of crimson blood to bead on her skin. Soo-yak's pupils contract, and his fangs extend involuntarily as the scent of blood overpowers his human willpower. Accepting the deal to fuel his revenge, Soo-yak is moved to a hidden hotel that serves as the squad's clandestine base. Mirror explains the hierarchy of the Nanayama Syndicate, led by Snow White and her 7 elite squad leaders. The training begins immediately, as Mirror seeks to test if Soo-yak can control the monstrous power surging through his veins. Mirror strikes him with a silver-coated baton, burning his skin to teach him the weaknesses of his new form. Soo-yak realizes that while silver is lethal, his immunity to sunlight gives him a tactical advantage no other vampire possesses. Their training is interrupted when the hotel is suddenly breached by the manic, cat-like vampire girl known as Coco. Coco is a scout for the Nanayama, searching for the Daywalker who survived the Snow White massacre. Soo-yak engages her, his movements a blend of NIS martial arts and raw vampire strength. However, Coco is merely a distraction for the arrival of the 5th squad leader, the venomous Katrina. Katrina releases a thick, purple venomous mist that paralyzes the human guards instantly. Mirror realizes the venom is designed to override vampire healing and orders a tactical retreat. Soo-yak refuses to run, his blood boiling with the need to avenge his fallen brothers from the hotel betrayal. One of Katrina's spectral snakes bites Suyak's shoulder, injecting a toxin that makes his vision swim. Coco suddenly turns on her own leader, her face contorting in a look of sudden, inexplicable grief. She whispers that Katrina killed her only friend, Ayaka, and she will no longer serve the Nanayama. Katrina laughs at the betrayal, stating that Anna has already replaced the weak with the worthy. Suyak offers his own blood to Coco, knowing that a vampire who drinks his unique Daywalker blood gains a massive surge in power. Coco drinks greedily, and her form expands, her muscles rippling as she enters a state of high-speed frenzy. The two newly formed allies launch a combined assault on Katrina, tearing through her spectral snakes with ease. Katrina realizes she is outmatched and retreats into the darkness, but not before stealing a vital Vatican artifact from the lobby vault. With the threat gone for now, Suyak collapses, his body struggling to process the heavy toxins and his own blood loss. Mirror oversees the cleanup, her respect for Suyak growing after witnessing his selflessness for a fellow vampire. Coco curls up at Suyak's feet like a loyal guard dog, refusing to let anyone else touch him. Days later, the Vatican High Council, led by the enigmatic Bishop Dominic, arrives to inspect the Daywalker specimen. Dominic is skeptical, believing that a vampire, even a sunproof one, can never truly be a holy weapon. He orders Suyak to lead a mission to Vladivostok, where Katrina was last spotted building a new drug lab. Suyak agrees, seeing this as his chance to finally hunt down one of the squad leaders who laughed at his brother's deaths. Meanwhile, Coco sneaks into the arsenal and steals a customized silver dagger designed specifically for her speed. In the depths of the Nanayama Syndicate, Katrina presents the stolen artifact to a dark, towering figure. The figure is Abigail, the fourth squad leader, a woman of monstrous strength who views Katrina as a mere insect. Abigail crushes a stone pillar with one hand, declaring that the Daywalker will be her next plaything. Back at the base, Mirror pulls Suyak aside and warns him that Dominic has planted a spy within their group. Suyak looks at the other squad members, his reverse eye scanning for any irregularities in their heartbeats. As they board the transport plane for Russia, Suyak feels a chill that has nothing to do with the winter air. Inside the plane's cargo hold, Coco notices a strange, rhythmic ticking coming from one of the Vatican supply crates. She screams for Suyak just as the crate explodes, tearing a hole in the side of the fuselage mid-flight. Suyak grabs Mirror and Coco, leaping into the freezing void as the plane spirals down toward the Siberian tundra. Far below, a massive shadow waits in the trees, watching their descent with hungry eyes. Far below, a massive shadow waits in the trees, watching their descent with hungry eyes. The heavy silence of the night is shattered by the sound of breaking glass at the hotel's main entrance. Abigail strides through the debris, her footsteps echoing like thunder in the empty lobby. Alarm bells scream as security guards rush to intercept the lone intruder. With a casual flick of her wrist, Abigail summons a blade of hardened blood and carves through the front line. She doesn't stop to look at the fallen, her eyes fixed solely on the path leading to Suyak. Inside the control room, Mirror stares at the monitors in disbelief at the speed of the slaughter. Suyak tightens his grip on his silver dagger, feeling the phantom itch of his vampire instincts. Mirror orders the evacuation of the lower floors, knowing a human army is useless against a captain. Abigail reaches the grand ballroom where Lucia waits with her hands glowing with divine fire. A massive blast of holy energy erupts from Lucia's palms, incinerating the air between them. Abigail walks through the flames unscathed, the heat barely singeing her dark armor. Mirror joins the fray, swinging her massive claymore in a wide arc to keep the monster at bay. The clash of steel against Abigail's skin sounds like hammer hitting an anvil. Abigail retaliates with a blood spear, piercing Lucia's side and pinning her to a marble pillar. Coco leaps from the shadows, her claws slashing at Abigail's eyes in a whirlwind of motion. The captain catches Coco by the throat and slams her into the floor with bone-shattering force. Suyak finally arrives, his presence radiating a cold, murderous intent that chills the room. He realizes his silver knife is useless against Abigail's legendary physical defense. Abigail laughs, inviting him to show her the true power of a Daywalker. Suyak moves in a blur, engaging Abigail in a high-speed exchange of strikes and parries. Despite his speed, every hit he lands feels like striking solid stone. Abigail's axes materialize from the blood on the floor, trapping Suyak in a cage of jagged thorns. A spike pierces Suyak's shoulder, lifting him off the ground as he screams in pain. Seeing him hurt, Coco drags her broken body forward, desperately trying to distract the captain. Abigail kicks her aside like a discarded toy, focusing all her attention on the struggling hero. Mira tries to stand, but her injuries are too severe to rejoin the combat. Suyak's vision begins to blur, the world turning into a haze of red and black. A deep, resonant thumping sound fills his ears, the sound of his heart beating for the first time since his death. His right eye begins to pulsate with a violent demonic light, turning pitch black with a crimson pupil. With a roar that shakes the foundation of the hotel, Suyak snaps the blood spike with his bare hands. Abigail's smile fades as she senses the sudden, explosive surge of power coming from him. Suyak lands on the ground and vanishes, reappearing instantly behind the captain. He sinks his fangs into Abigail's neck, draining her strength as he unleashes his true awakening. Black veins spread across Suyak's face as he absorbs the ancient combat essence from her blood. He delivers a final, concentrated punch that shatters Abigail's impenetrable chest plate and sends her through the wall. The captain falls into the dark forest below, her body broken, and her power stolen. Suyak stands alone in the wreckage, his reverse eye slowly fading back to its human form. Coco and Mirror approach him, their expressions a mix of awe and terror at the power they just witnessed. Despite the devastation, they are all alive, and the threat of the fourth squad has been neutralized. Suyak looks at his hands, knowing he is now one step closer to Anna and the end of his journey. The first rays of sunlight hit his face, proving once and for all that he is the master of both day and night. The hunt for the remaining captains begins, but for today, the Crimson Awakening has found its peace.